सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मा अमृतं गमय आविराविर्मयेधि। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। Let we be protected, let we be nourished. Let our study be enlightened, study be with energy and vigor. Let our study be enlightening and not give rise to hostility. Om, peace, peace, peace. Lead us to truth and not to untruth. Lead us to enlightenment and not ignorance. Lead us to immortality and not death. Let the self-manifest Atman grow in me. Om, peace, peace, peace. Om, Bhagavad Gita, with which path was enlightened by the Lord Narayana himself, and which was incorporated in the Mahabharata by the ancient sage Vyasa, the Blessed Mother, the destroyer of rebirth, showering down the nectar of Advaita, and consisting of 18 chapters upon thee, O Bhagavad Gita, O loving Mother, I meditate on. We'll also chant the name of Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of Bhagavad Gita. Jai Jai Ramakrishna, 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 Jai Jai Krishna. So we are studying Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and we are in 8th chapter, and we have seen in the beginning some 7 questions were put before Sri Krishna, and Sri Krishna answered one after another. Now, what is here? We find the last question was that what one should remember at the time of final departure. Prayana kale cha katham yeyosi niyatatmabhi. Other questions are we have already covered, but why it is required? Let us think about it. Prayana kale cha katham yeyosi niyatatmabhi. Here we find everyone dies. Even beggars die, kings die. Even wealthy person, they also die. Even at the time of COVID, we have seen so many deaths. And not only at the time of COVID, but ahani ahani bhutani gachanti yama mandiram. Every moment, people are going to the temple of Yama. That means death. Every moment we are approaching death. So this is very important question for all of us. Death is staring at us. So one should be ready for that moment. That is why it is very pertinent question for all. Say some philosophical questions, what is that Brahman, and all these questions may not be that important. We may know, may not know. But this is very important, that what we should know at the time of our final departure. Now, why this question came, that's also a very important topic to understand. In 6 previous chapters, we have seen Bhagavan Sri Krishna explained how one should work, how one should cultivate knowledge, how one should meditate, concentrate. All these we have seen. But the problem is we have no tendency for correct way to work and also meditate and also cultivating knowledge. But one thing is certain, that this body will fall off one day. Therefore, Sri Krishna introduced here one thing. It is called upasana. How to meditate, how to contemplate God, how to concentrate that higher being. Though we have already discussed that it is of two kinds, sakama and nishkama. Sakama means with some desire. And we have already seen Bhagavan has explained, Chaturvidha bhajante maam jana sukritino arjuna. 4 types of people, they worship me. Artha, jigyasu, artharthi. Artha means somebody is in distress, so he calls on God. And some people want to know what is this world and what is this person, how we have come here. So they are more interested to know what is this. And the third kind of people are those who are the artharthi. They are interested in fulfilling their desire. So for certain reasons, they offer prayer to God. Oh God, please save me in the final examination, or remove my disease, or something like that. So all 3 are not interested in God. And Jnani, who is already steeped in God. So these 3 are sakam, with some desire. But those who worship God without any desire, to achieve Him, to attain Him. So that is the purpose of this section from 7th to 12th. The purpose is to introduce a topic which is important. So to meditate on God, to contemplate on God, because that is required at the time of our final departure. See, if we don't do, what will happen? It's like parrots. We can teach Rama Rama to parrots. But at the sight of danger, like a cat, it will squawk. Therefore, how we can contemplate God in our day-to-day life so that we never forget, and naturally at the time of death, the final departure, will remember. So this is the purpose of this section from 7th to 12th, to introduce the way to remember God all the time, Upasana. So this is one thing that came to my mind. Now, one thing more. In Bhagavad, Srimad Bhagavatam, another idea is given. That idea is to have devotion to God without any purpose. So one is sakama, with some desire, and something is nishkama. And ahaituki bhakti. Ahaituki bhakti means without any desire, without any purpose. Because they love God. Says Sri Ramakrishna, life of Sri Ramakrishna, very important. His mind is getting dissolved, as it were. All the time he's absorbed in God. A slight suggestion and his mind goes to that state. But he tries to grab his mind and pulls it back for the welfare of people. So such devotion is called ahetuki, without any reason, without any rhyme. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, we find such topic is introduced. Here also we'll find, but here what God is said, God has said here, we'll go to that. But before that, let me introduce that one. One is, say, various freedom is conceived. One is called salokya. Salokya means in the same loka, same place, location. You know? Loka and location, you can relate. This is a Sanskrit word. Salokya. Then called sarshti, sarupya, samupya, and ekatvam, apyuta. So all these Shalokya, Sarshti, then Sarupya, Samipya, etc. 5 kinds of mukti is defined. But some people are there, Diyamanam, na grinhanti, vina mat sevanam jana. Though these muktis, freedom, is being offered to them, but they are not interested in it. But the problem is one thing. This is the highest. A character like Sri Ramakrishna, a character or a person like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Radha, or a great devotees who can conceive such ideas. Ordinary people cannot conceive this. They may feign to fool oneself that I have that kind of attraction for God, but it is very difficult until or unless one is totally free from sense perception, totally free. Until or unless that situation comes, it is impossible for people. That's why Swami Vivekananda forbid in our order, and also he also taught not to please close that. Close the door. So he forbade to practice that kind of bhakti. Let us start where we are. We don't understand, simple mathematics, and we are conceiving to understand what Einstein gave that formula, E is equal to mc square. So it is like that. First, we have to go through proper channel. Then only we can consider that. Dharma prajjita kaitavatra nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavam atra vastu shivadam tapatrayunmulam. Though it removes all kinds of afflictions, adhyatmic, adidaivik, adibhautik, three kinds of afflictions, though it is removed, but can we conceive that? We cannot. That is why let us go step by step. That is why Srimad Bhagavad Gita is so important, because here highest conception, highest ideals and ideas are given, but at the same time practicality is also highlighted. So we have gone many shlokas, so we just to remind yourself, because few people are new and also we forget. That is why we need to revise a little. A recapitulation, we call it, though people are afraid of it. But this is required for cultivating samskara. Because these thoughts are repeated, that ingrains into our character. So, Bhagavan said, 14. Ananya chetaha satatam yomam smarati nityashaha tasyaham sulabha partha nityayuktasya yogina. The running translation, as you can see on the screen, I am easily attainable by that ever steadfast yogi who remembers me constantly and daily with a single mind, O son of Partha. Pritha, Partha means son of Pritha means Kunti, and that's why his name is Partha. So here name is given after mother, it's not after father. So Ananya Cheta here, and we have already discussed about it, that Satu Dirghakalena Niryantaryam Satkar Sevit. It's not half-hearted, rather full involvement. And Dirghakal, constantly one has to practice for many, many years, maybe after birth. Then only I am available to such soul. Now, before that, Bhagavan introduced another thing, that all senses to be oriented to this, and Sarvadvarena Sanyamya Manoridhi, and controlling one's mind in one's heart, and then one should meditate on the in between the eyebrows at the time of departure. And Omityek Akshram, and he should utter Om. All these we have already discussed. So it is better that we go forward. So here the idea is not to worry about whether it is in the heart or in the brow, but those who can concentrate on me. Bhagavan says this, Ananya Cheta, they have no other business. Totally poised in me. Ananya Cheta, Satatam, all the time. 24/7 nowadays they say. Satatam, Yumam Smarati Nityash. That means without fail. So we have to defy our day-to-day activities so that whenever we do something, even secular, that should be able to be converted into sacred. That means our day-to-day activities must be converted not as work, but as worship. For such a person, I am available. Therefore, not to worry. Don't worry about where to meditate, what to do. All the time, remember me. And then comes Mamupetya, the next will go. Mamupetya punarjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam. If you can attain, what is the gain that you'll have? If you remember God, again, our God is not sitting on the high heaven. Our God is within us. Your real nature, your real self. So if you can remember him, then what happens? Mamupetya punarjanma. Then there will be no rebirth. Taking birth is a trouble. And we are to suffer. We are to suffer for janma, mrityu, jara, vyadhi, dukkha, dosha, anudarshana. Birth itself is a trouble, even trouble to mother. And death, of course, that's also a pain. And old age, those who are old enough, they understand. Old age, and also disease, and all kinds of struggle, etc. So this we need not highlight because already we suffer. So Bhagavad is giving incentive. What is the purpose? If you remember me, what will happen? What will happen? That you will not come back in this house of misery. Reaching the highest perfection and having attained me, the great souled ones are no more subject to rebirth, which is the home of pain and ephemeral. So what is to be done? Asukte ramriti kalam nayet vedant chintaya. Asukte, until we are asleep, until we are dead and gone, we should engage our mind in the principles that is proclaimed in Vedas. That means what? That means the gist of Veda. That means our real self. What is my real self? That is to be contemplated. And we have already mentioned last class, just because these are very wonderful ideas. One should bank on what is good and favorable. That means anukulasya sampatti, that God has provided everything that which are favorable to us. And whatever is antagonistic, what is against us, that is to be avoided. Pratikulasya varjanam. And this firm faith that God is within me and He's protecting me all the time. Rakshishyati iti vishwasa. Then what will happen? Brahma Bhuvana Loka. Now we have various concepts. There are 7 spheres. As we have this hierarchy in our society, some live in high income apartments, some middle income, some low income, and some still we have homeless people also. So similarly, in this concept, there are 7 lokas. Brahma Bhuvana Loka. So what are those? Bhur, Bhuva, Swa, Maha, Jana, Tapa, Satya. Satya Loka. So the highest is Satya Loka, and that is also called Brahma Loka. So Sri Krishna has curtailed it. He has not mentioned all these various lokas, but he said, even that Brahma Loka, Brahma Bhuvanantika. And not only that, the post of Brahma See, there are two things. One is Brahman or Brahma. Brahman or Brahma. Second is Brahma. Brahma means firstborn. Brahman is beyond all adjuncts. Brahman is all pervading background or like consciousness. In that consciousness, or we can say the source of consciousness on which everything is pivoted. Without that, nothing can exist. Like space. Without space, even nothing can exist here. But space is also gross. Ether is also gross. What is being said? That highest, which is free of all adjuncts. So that is Brahman. What is Brahma? The firstborn, like in our Chandi, Saptashati. So there it is, a story is there. Vishnu is lying on a serpent bed in a ocean. What is that ocean? It's called Karana. Karana means cause. He's lying in the cause. Now, what is cause? Karana. So we can see something gross. So this house, we can see it. So this is gross. But before this, there is, or even whatever we see behind that is subtle. Say I'm talking to you. Somebody conceived this building. You cannot see that. So it is subtle, but it is there. We can imply. So gross, subtle. And then behind that is causal. What is causal? Say one day, say maybe 50 or 100 years back, somebody came here, said, very nice piece of land, let there be a house. And then he arranged an architect and he planned, and one day it is built. So that is the cause. The person who first conceived, Karana. Say I'm talking, when I'm speaking, that is gross, but thought is subtle. Behind that, I have a purpose. I want to make a point, that's causal. So Vishnu is lying down in the ocean of causes. Because Vishnu is all pervading. When lying down means he is as if asleep. He's within us, he is asleep. But when that first ray of creation starts, then firstborn is born. That is called Brahma. So he comes from the navel. Like I'm speaking, when I'm uttering words through using my various parts of my mouth, sometimes guttural or labial, and etc. And behind this is my thought. And the first, when it is coming out, it is coming from the navel portion. That's why Parapashanti, Vak and Vaikhari. So 4 kinds of Vak is also there. So anyway, to cut it short, so when the creation happens, it happens as if from navel. So Vishnu is asleep as it were, but he's not asleep, it's Yoga Nidra. And somehow the creation starts. So Brahma comes out of it. Brahma, not Brahman. So this firstborn is called Brahma. So Brahma Bhuvana Loka. So even Brahma Loka, and even Brahma is post. So nowadays someone is a president, and then after 4 years someone else, or whatever, that political system. So it keeps on changing. So these are all revolving. It is all changing. Brahma Bhuvana Lokaha Punaravartino Arjuna. All are in a cyclic motion. Here, the popular idea is linear. We are progressing, and we are progressing for eternity. No. After progress comes regress, and after regress comes progress. Evolution and involution. This is the way. As we have day and night, and again day and night, similarly, we can find seasons, various seasons. So it is cyclic. So what is point here? Brahma, Bhuvana, Loka, even the highest heaven, the Brahma Loka. So all these are Punaravartana. So you have no settled position there until or unless you attain me. So Brahma, Bhuvana, Loka, Punaravartina Arjuna, Mam Upetya tu Kaunteya, Punarjanma Navidya. So that who is beyond all attributes, who is beyond all adjuncts. So that is my real nature. We also can contemplate. We have identity that I am a body. We have identity. Identity is like we are minds. But behind that mind is something which is holding everything. So we are to attain that. Mam upetya tu kaunteya punarjanma na vidyate. You will not get rebirth if you somehow attain to me. All the worlds, O Arjuna, including the realm of Brahma, not Brahman, are subject to return. But after attaining me, O son of Kunti, there is no rebirth. So this is the incentive, because when you think all the time, 24/7 and 365, then what you are going to attain? That state where there is no return. Those who want to come back and enjoy and suffer, that's fine, that's not a problem. Now, again, Bhagavan gives just a rough amount. Sahasra yuga paryantam ahar yat brahmano vidhi ratrim yuga sahasrantam teho ratra vido jana. So here Sri Krishna did not assert his authority, but he said those who understand day and night, they can understand this, or they have said this. So what is that? They who know the true measure of day and night, know the day of Brahma, even that Brahma Loka, so which ends in 1,000 yugas. So here yuga also includes Chatur Yuga, 4 yugas are there. Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. And what are the say rough years? 4,032,000 3 or say 4.3 million, you can say. So this is one yuga, and such Chatur Yuga, and when it is Satya Yuga, is 4 times of Kali Yuga, Treta Yuga 3 times, and Dwapara Yuga 2 times, all kinds of. So we can roughly estimate that zillions, or we can say Google years. So here he has not gone in details. We are also not interested in details. So what is important, that we see as we go after the day, we go to sleep. So it's called Nitya Laya or Pralaya. Nitya. This happens every day. And then Naimittika Pralaya also is there. Nitya Naimittika. And then Mahapralaya and a final dissolution. Anyway, all kinds of ideas are there. So we are not interested in that. But what is important? As our day starts with activities, and then we interact with each other, then we have a perception of many people. And again, in the night, everything goes and crumbles into oneness, as it were. Again, in the morning, that happens. So similar idea you can think. So this is called Laya and Srishti, Pralaya and Srishti, creation and dissolution. So this way it is conceived. One can argue for and against. We are not interested in both. So what is the matter? Matter here, that until or unless one attains to me, this cycle will go on. No one can stop this. Why? It is because, I will take up that next one, Abhyaktat Vyaktayah Sarva Prabhavantyah Ragami Ratriagame Praliyante Tatraiva Vyaktasami. Why we cannot stop? Say when you are going to sleep, you have a list to do next day. Oh, I have to do this, I have to go there, I have this business, that business, I have to buy that, we have to sell this. So what happens? These are called vasana. So this is very important. It's called karmashaya. Karmashaya means all our activities are the reservoir of all the activities, karmashaya. And that is acquired in course of time. And we have some samskaras, tendencies, accumulated tendencies. And it happens because of what? Because of avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, and abhinivesha. It's because of avidya. Avidya means ignorance. We do not know our real nature. This is the simple translation. If we know our real nature, then there is no rebirth. But since we do not know, then after avidya comes asmita. I am this. Who are you? How dare you talk to me like this? So from avidya comes asmita, means I-ness, aham, asmita. And then comes raga, attachment, dvesha, aversion. I like this, I don't like that. And this is, you can relate yourself, or anyone can relate with this. We have this kind of thing. And we suffer because of this. Avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, and abhinivesh. And we want to hold something. We want to hold this life also. Not only we want to hold something, we want to hold forever. But that does not happen. So what? So this is karmashaya. So what's the purpose of this? Akrita abhyagama and krita vipranasha dosha pariharartham. What we have done, we have not done. So we want to do that. And secondly, what is done, that is to be get rid of. So for this reason, say we have something to do and we have not done something. That's why we linger. We after the day, when we go to sleep, and then next day we start from there. Similarly, this cycle goes on. So that is why one should get rid of this. So sahasra yuga paryantam ahar yat brahmano vidu ratrim yuga sahasrantam tehratra vido jana. Vyaktat vyaktayah sarva, all comes to manifested state from unmanifested state. As the day breaks, at the approach of day, or Brahma's day, we can say all manifestations proceed from the unmanifested state. Say you can relate with your life. When you go to sleep, everything is absorbed. You don't know where you are lying. And that is, say, you can dream. And after that, a state will come when you are not dreaming, but you are not absent. How we know? Because the next day we remember, oh, I slept very well. I did not know anything. So until or unless we experience that, we cannot say this. It means to experience that I was there, though I had no idea in what state I was. So this is abhyaktat vyaktaya. So similarly, from unmanifested, everything manifests. And again, from manifested existence, again it goes to unmanifested state. Unmanifested means it is there, potentially there, but it's not manifested, it's not kinetic. It's not talking. You cannot talk in your dreamless state. In dream, you can say. But also that's also seeming. As you come out of your dream, you just ignore. It's enough. That's it. So Ratyagame praliyante tatraivabhyakta sangaki. At the approach of Brahma's day, all manifestations proceed from the unmanifested. Because the seed is there, karmasha is there. That is why. And ignorance is not busted. Ignorance is not removed. One has not identified with one's own real self. Still he is identifying with his previous actions and tendencies. Therefore, one has to come back. And it is said, and even in English also, say, whatever one thinks, so he becomes. And so whatever we think, gradually we become. So therefore, it's very important to think of God all the time. Ratyagame praliyante tatraivabhyakta sangake. At the approach of the day or Brahma's day, all manifestations proceed from the unmanifested state. Not only Brahma's day, your day also like that. You also manifest and again absorb. Every day you do this. From the unmanifested state, at the approach of night, they merge verily into that alone, which is called the unmanifested. So this cyclic movement will go on. How? Bhutagramaha saevayam bhutva bhutva praliyate ratriagame avashah partha prabhavatyah ragam. So it says, the very same multitude of beings. So, see, today we are so many. So this creation will happen at the break of the day of Brahma. Gradually it revolves like this. And again it will be absorbed. Similarly, our day is also similar. The very same multitude of beings of that existed in the preceding day of Brahma. Being born, say last time someone asked a question. So this is like a film in a cinema. So it comes into existence, again it goes back to its nature or its source. So being born again and again merge in spite of themselves. So we have no control over it. As if it comes. Similarly, whatever we create every day, we do not have any control over them. O son of Pritha, into the unmanifested at the approach of night and re-manifest at the approach of day. So this is the situation. But there is one exception. What is that exception? that he who remembers me, because that is beyond this, beyond the causes, he's beyond gross, subtle, causal, he's the fourth. In that state, there is no return. One you achieve, you achieve. It's like water. If it is in a mill, water goes on revolving or encircling, but once it goes to the ocean, it enters, and then there is no return. You can argue, okay, there will be vapor and again it will rain. So that argument is there, but we can say, when everything crumbles and in Mahakasha, absorbed in Mahakasha, then there is no return. See, all relative things are tend to have many-sidedness. So we don't go into that. What we concentrate, we want to find that state which is being said here. So we go to the next. So Bhagavan says, and Bhagavan also here is very brief. He's not going in details so that the argumentative, he's not doing that here. It's very simple, very nice and straightforward. But beyond this unmanifested, there is that other unmanifested eternal existence. So one is unmanifested. Which one? Say you go to sleep and after that you go to dreamless sleep. So that is also abhyakta. Abhyakta means you cannot say, it cannot be expressed. But there is something behind that also cannot be said, that also cannot be expressed. So here, Bhagavan is taking, or God is taking us to that state. Paraha, para means beyond. Paraha tasmat. So even the previous abhyakta, that is said, there is something behind that. Paraha tasmat tu. Bhavaha anyaha abhyaktaha abhyakta sanata. So there is another abhyakta, unmanifested, which is beyond this unmanifested. Yaha sa sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. Which does not get destroyed, because this is the substratum, this is the source of everything, on which everything exists. But beyond this unmanifested, there is that other unmanifested eternal existence, that which is not destroyed at the destruction of all beings. So we are to attain to that state, and then we are done with. So then there is no return. We go to the next. Abhyakto akshara ityuktaha. So it is abhyakta. Abhyakta means cannot be expressed. Akshara. Akshara means naksharatiti. Akshara. You remember, Aksharam Brahma Paramam. So what is Brahman? Akshara, which is immutable. Now these are words, but we can just imagine that which, say, if I ask you, if I tell you, you don't exist, what will you say? Swami, I understand. You're a busy person. Be busy with your work, but I know I exist. Nobody can shake you on this point. How and why? Because you are aware of this, that I exist. So this state, though you cannot define yourself, whatever you try, you can try, but you will tell about your body, your mind, but you cannot touch it. But your existence itself, abhyakt, it cannot be expressed. Abhyakt akshara, And it is never destroyed. You are never destroyed. In your waking state, you are not destroyed. In your dreaming state, you are not destroyed. In your dreamless state, you are not destroyed. Never. So that's why it is Akshara. Akshara means Naksharati, immutable. You are as it is all the time. Akshara. Abhyakt Akshara. Ityuktam tamahu paramam gatim. That is the supreme gati. Yam prapya na nivartanti. Attaining that, one does not return. Sometimes, that out of play you may come like Sri Ramakrishna, just for lok sangrahartham, for the welfare of many. And that is also a play. That's why Leela, it is called divine play. So out of Leela, out of divine play, you might come in that state. But otherwise, when you are even in the Leela situation, that time also you are merged in yourself. Yam prapya na nivartanti. Therefore, attaining this, there is no what has been called unmanifested and imperishable has been described as the goal supreme. So this is our goal of life. What is the goal of life? Sri Ramakrishna said, the realization of God is the goal of life. Eating, drinking, merrymaking, that cannot be the goal of life. Goal of life is to attain this state. That is the goal of life. So that is my highest state, having attained which there is no return. Then all the time you'll be your own self. When you are in the world, you'll be attracted to find something very attractive, and then a blow will come and then it is shattered. But there will be no such struggle, neither there is any deviation from that state. Yam prapya na nivartanti tadhama paramam mama. So here we'll go to the next, because the first let us discuss in a general way, then we'll come back, and then so that I do like that way. First we go in a simple way, and then we come back and again try to dwell on those ideas. Purushaha sa paraha partha bhaktya labhyastananya. So that state can be attained through devotion. Yasya antasthani bhutani yena sarvamidam tatha. So because this is called upasana, so in upasana there is no harm conceiving a personal God. Personal God also conceived in two ways. One is called pratima, one is called pratika. Pratima, which has limbs, like we worship Mother Durga. Actually, what we are doing, we are worshipping Mother Durga. Actually, Mother Durga is within us. If you hear the mantras that is uttered, so the Pujari Maharaj, he invokes God within, and he puts that God outside and worships. And before that, some cleansings are there, and then he invokes within. Om Yang 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 Ram Ram Sham Sham Sam, etc. Some mantras are there. So the divine is invoked within, and then it is put outside, and it is worshipped. After the worship is over, then it is Kshamaswa. Then again it is taken within. So this puja, external worship, is an exercise. So pratima means who have limbs. Pratika has no limbs, like Shivlingam. And say like it is the Jyoti, effulgence. Effulgence has a form, and then we worship. Even a flag, people sacrifice their lives for a piece of cloth called flag. Because that piece of cloth represents our nation. Therefore, this is not alien. This is natural. And even those people, they say that we are not idolaters. They also worship like that. Say half crescent moon, Islam honor that. Even the Jews have that box, and dove is sitting on it, protecting it as it were. So symbols and pratika are used in all religions. And not only that, not only pratika, pratima also. If you ask a Christian, he'll know that Jesus is there and he has limbs, he has a human attributes like we have. So this is not extraordinary, this is natural for all. And similarly, even Mohammedans, they will also think about even Allah Mia. There is Allah Mia means the Mr. Allah is there. So personal, so we cannot get rid of all these ideas. That's why here Purusha. Purusha means Puri Shayanat Purnatvatva, who is residing within this and who is covering the whole. So Puri Shayanat and Purnatvatva. So that's why Purusha. It is not that we worship an idol. We worship God through that representative that we call a pratima or pratika. We worship God. God means what? Our real being. Again, God is not somewhere sitting outside of creation. Why we should bring all the time this? Because this is our nature. We say God, oh God. God means somewhere. No, God is within us. So that God is to be invoked. Purushaha sa paraha partha labhyasta. So it can be attained through devotion. Because we are talking about bhakti, upasana. So, but in the section when knowledge is there, then we say we discard all ignorance. Whatever misconception that we have to discard that. But here we are talking about devotion. And therefore, there is God, personal God. Yasya sthani bhutani yena sarvam idam tatam. Because he is all pervading. Yourself is all pervading. On yourself, everything is established. You are there, that's why this world is there. If you are not there, this world will not be there. We may imagine that after me also there will be a world. Like I am asleep, so somebody is awake. So all these ideas are there, but we have to get benefited out of these ideas. So, and that Supreme Purusha is attainable. It is not that, oh, we cannot attain God. God is too powerful, too sacred, and I am a secular person. How can I attain God? No. He is your real being. Therefore, he can be attained. And that Supreme Purusha is attainable, whose son of Pritha, by whole soul devotion to him. Only thing should not be half-hearted, but it is total, dedicated Sharanagati, that as we have already discussed. In whom all beings dwell and by whom all this is pervaded. So this is the message of Gita. Now a section will come, then Shukla Gati and Krishna Gati. So that's another section. So we'll stop here. So here. Now we'll stop here. Only thing we need to be surrendered, and we need to remember God all the time, and the process is given by the gurus. Even if something is not there, then one can chant Omkar or any holy name that will lead us to that state. So we say our prayer. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tassat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.
There's a question.
Yeah.
So Akshay asks, does God leave someone or withdraw his grace due to which people fall from yoga?
Yeah. You also do the same thing. Sometimes some temptation comes and you forget your inner call. Similarly, those who forget their inner call, we can say that he is bereft of God. So again, you are thinking God is a person who is favoring, and also if someone comes to disfavor, he can leave him. But it is you. Now think about yourself. If you are answering the call of your inner being, then you are with God. When you are, because of temptations or maybe some previous samskaras, you are away from it, you are deprived. So God is not responsible for that. It's your tendency that is responsible. So God is not a person. That's why we need to hammer this idea over and over again. When we think that we are embodied, then we think God must be separate. But God is within us. So therefore, God is not favoring someone or antagonistic to someone. It is the person because of his avidya, asmita, and raga, dvesha, vinivesh, and because of karmashaya, all this seems to happen. Why I say it seems to happen? Because it never happens. One thinks that, oh, I'm away from God. But wherever one is, no one can be away from God. Means from his own self. Means the substratum. Substratum is holding. Even a lunatic person thinks that, I am not that. So it is not his, he remains that same person. Though he may think that I am not that. Say, one can think I'm the president of USA. The lunatic person can think. But he even still that he will remain the same person. So what I'm saying, that is not God who deprives someone or favors someone. It is we. We, out of ignorance, we think that we are deprived or we are being favored. But upasana, yes, one can think in upasana, Sagun Brahma, and one can think that's way. That's also not in Rama, Krishna, and that's why we worship. Actually, we worship our real self. But there is no harm thinking that God is separate from him. So we can take any attitude that is favorable for us or good for us. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Namaste, Swami. Thank you.